that you checked, I was probably so sad and confused. I don't know what you love, but if you're looking for something new, I know somebody that you could choose. What about me? What about me? What about me and you together? Something that could really last forever.
Hello, greetings and assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to everyone. I'm your girl Ika, here back and better than ever with today's topic: should kids be paid for good grades?
Oh my god! Wow!
2,000 years later.
Should students get rewarded with cash for good grades? Well, to be straightforward, I personally do not agree that it is worth it to pay students only for getting good grades every single time. Yes, I agree that students can get motivated to study if they're paid for good grades, because, well, who doesn't love money? Providing a monetary reward enables the students to focus and study in class. However, I strongly feel that they should not be paid for their good grades. For instance, one school in Chicago implemented this policy to reward students based on their grades. However, after 1 year, the school was forced to discontinue this policy due to the lack of funds. Though this policy is effective, it is short-lived, which means it doesn't stay long. Even if we think logically, the cause of this policy is not even possible for schools to uphold. Some may argue that reducing the amount of cash rewards the students receive would solve the problem. This will also result in a decrease in effectiveness of this policy, as students do not find the cash reward appealing. They would not be motivated to study, which diminishes the purpose of this policy. Thus, this policy would not be sustained for long. Paying them... I'm referring to myself as well. Based on a study made by Massachusetts Institute of Technology, money is not very effective motivator. If a task is simple, straightforward, and involves only mechanical skills, then a higher pay will result in a better performance. However, if the task is complicated, that requires conceptual, creative thinking, and involves rudimentary cognitive skills, it would not be successful at all. Instead, it would be the complete opposite. Many studies have also proved that recognizing students' accomplishments is ultimately the base motivator. According to Sylvia Rim, a child psychologist, consistency plays a much more major role in achievement than money does, because if you think of it, money is not everything. Like,
I am the one, the way your son don't need.
if you're studying and you study for money, then you're not studying for you. Then why do you want to study for money when you can be intelligent, when you can rule the world without focusing on the money? You can focus on the money after you get your job and get paid and so on, but don't just focus on the money because of getting good grades to get money. Doesn't make sense. For example, top students would also try to maintain their results with consistent efforts, whereas others who failed give up easily as they find there is no hope in them getting rewards and compliments. Therefore, money is not a good motivator. Studying is students' responsibility. As what I stated, me myself, are born to study. That is the purpose of our living. So if we do not study and get to a better living and better state of our condition, of our own living for ourselves, not because of the money, then that's not the purpose of our living. Then we live for money.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
No one wanna live for money. It is also wrong to lure students into studying by using cash, as it gives them an idea that everything revolves around money, which is a bitter truth that they are too young to learn. This monetary policy encourages the wrong things. Why do I say so? Students may get so caught up in focusing on making more money that they assume getting good grades is purely for the money and not for learning purposes. Hence, this policy would lose the real purpose of learning in life and also diminishes the purpose of school. So, if you want to get just the money, why should you learn? Then it would be better for you just to go get a job and then do not go to school, because getting a job is the best solution to have money. So why do you want to go to school and get good grades just for money?
Stop it. Get some help.
Moreover, students would not take learning seriously and see not point in learning. Studying benefits one, and the good grades one attains would come in handy to land a job and decide one's future. Being paid to study teaches the wrong value to students. They would not be determined to strive harder to get the grades for themselves and not for the money. They would have no sense of satisfaction because all they want is more money. Ka-ching. They would lose sight of what really matters, which is the knowledge. We learn to live, not for money, A science research done by the Royal Society of Art shows that there are 3 factors that would lead to a better personal performance and personal satisfaction. The first factor is autonomy, which is the desire to be self-directed, to use our judgment and creativity to direct our lives. Second factor is mastery, the urge to excel. People practice and spend time doing things because it is fun and satisfying. Last factor is purpose, which is a transcendent purpose that goes beyond profit. Students should be motivated by these 3 factors to achieve better grades and not just money, because I stated in the beginning of this video that money isn't everything, and people do not live for money, people live for themselves. In conclusion, students should not be paid for getting good grades, no matter how wrong this sounds, but they should not. In the process, they are being taught the wrong character attributes and confuse themselves with what matters and does not matter. Moreover, the policy cannot be sustained due to the lack of funds, and studies have also proven that money is a bad motivation. Hi, now we're back with a whole new hijab. Not new hijab, but I'm changing my appearance just so you don't get bored, okay? So if I myself imagining the moment when I'm in schools talking to kids about resilience and learning through failure, I personally would begin with a quick survey. So what would this survey and the purpose would be? So first, I will ask the teachers and staff in the auditorium to close their eyes. I then ask the students to raise their hands if they get paid cash money for good grades. So basically just asking them, who among you guys got cash when you have good grades, like from their parents or teachers or some. So this experiment have actually been conducted before, and based on a research, depending on the socio-economic makeup of the district, about 15 to 20% of hands will go up. The students who actually get paid by getting good grades actually do exist, and it's real, not just from school. It comes from various sources. Sometimes it takes a while, and hands creeping up slowly, like the children are like that, like they are hesitantly, for kids seem to intuit that getting paid for good grades may not be the best approach to learning. Some of them may be aware and some may not, because they're just kids and they would think like, oh, I get money, so it's a good thing. I can buy things, I can buy foods with this money, so why not just get good grades for the money, you know? After that, I will then ask them to raise their hands if they get any material thing, not money, but material thing in exchange for grades. Getting toys, getting gadgets, maybe getting foods or other things like a new iPod or some other shiny enticement. In an experimental response, about 20 to 25% of the hands are expected to go up, like not just money but getting rewards in terms of material aspects is also the reality of nowadays society. So the noise that I imagine in the auditorium tends to amp up with each new questions as students begin to compare notes. When the clamor dies down, I will remind the staff of the rules. Eyes closed, no peeking, and I warn the students that this last question is a little harder to answer than the previous ones, and I want them to think thoroughly and search their hearts for an honest answer before they respond. So this is how it will go. Raise your hand if you truly believe your parents love you more than you bring home high grades and love you less when you make low ones. So it's just basically me asking them whether their parents only love them because of their grades, or their parents will love them less if they get like lower grades or some. And parents ask how to get a child to potty train. The answer is very easy, like the answer is you don't. Over the past 5 years, these questions have been asked to like thousands of kids, like thousands, millions, billions of kids, like that ages 12 to 18 approximately, and the percentages still surprise me until this day. Like knowing that this question have been asked to a lot of kids, it really shocked me that some kids' answer is hard to explain. Among middle school children, about 80% believe that yes, their parents truly love them more when they deliver high grades and less when they make low ones, which is very sad, because imagine you as a kid getting asked, like for example me, I'm maybe just a stranger interviewing kids. So tell me, do you think your mom loves you more when you get high grades, like when you get A+ in school? Do they love you? Do they seem to love you more? And then the kid will be like, yes, they love me more when I get high grades, but when I get like C or D, they scold me and it seems like they do not love me. Doesn't it break your heart seeing kids respond like that? Like they knew that they are only being loved because they get high grades, they get good grades, not because the parents genuinely love them. Whether in high school, the average is a little higher, which is about 90%. So like after the poll is over, we debrief and I will reassure them that for the most part their perceptions are incorrect, because not all parents love their kids, love their children just because they want their child to get high grades, to get A+, A minus, or A here, A there, A everywhere. Not just because they wanted their kids to get high grades, but it does brings them happiness if their kids do get high grades. It's just that's not all about it. We need to tell them that they are loved no matter what, but parenting is hard, and when we parents often need a moment to come up with the right response to an unexpectedly low grade, not just calling them and asking them, why don't you get high grades? Why are you getting C? Why are you getting D? Why are you getting E? That's just not the correct way of responding or reacting to them getting low grades. Because yeah, I understand that we as parents, we as teachers are disappointed, but that silence they encounter when they bring home a report card littered with B minus is like the new F for now. Like everyone hates B minus and all they want is an A. It does not mean that we love them any less. I could promise you that we are just pausing to find the best, most appropriate words to support their hearts, their minds, and their intellectual growth. It's very saddening to know that most child felt like less loved, if I could say, because it does not mean that they are less loved. The parents just do not respond accurately to what they are experiencing and do not react appropriately. That's something that we need to fix on. I'm not a parent yet, however, I understand like the truth behind that pause. Like even if I don't want to admit it, like the silence in response to a low grade, like they know we are disappointed in them and they are even more disappointed in themselves for not getting good grades. That's withdrawal of love based on performance, and our kids hear us loud and clear enough for them to make the silence as quiet as possible. Jim Taylor, a psychologist who specialized in sports and parenting, calls it outcome love, which is outcome love is a transaction in which parents bestow the reward of love in exchange for their children's success and withdraw that love as punishment for failures. Outcome love impedes children's happiness as well as their success in life, because despite what parents may say to children about unconditional love, they hear parents most acutely through their actions, not just based on their words, but their actions shows much more than their words. Like a saying that goes, action speaks louder than words. Taylor elaborated in an email, if parents send frequent messages of love, happiness, and excitement when their children are successful, and frequent messages of withdrawal of love or anger, frustration, disappointment and such when their children fail to live up to their parents' expectations, the kids will make that connection. Messages of outcome love do not just shape kids' short-term happiness either. Like they can have a long-term deleterious effect on mental health, one that endures well beyond adolescence. Like sadly, these messages fuel mental health problems including perfectionism, fear of failure, low self-esteem, depression, anxiety, not to mention the reactions of resentment, anger, and rejection from the children toward the parents themselves. Even nowadays, when we observe in the society, like the teenagers and those who are in the phase of adolescence, anxiety is not less famous than ever. Like it's growing in numbers, it's growing in statistics, also depression and such. So this is not a good sign towards the teenagers, towards the children, towards the adolescents. This is a very important thing that we need to focus on. Even more painfully, this attitude of outcome love becomes internalized, and children grow up to be adults who berate themselves for failure and only give self-love when they succeed. So like because when they succeed you give them money, but when they fail you give them nothing but scolding them, questioning them why are they failing. Taylor said that in the email. So like, furthermore, when love is offered and is in exchange for performance, it becomes a reward to be earned, and the data on extrinsic rewards and their effect on motivation are very much obvious and clear. For instance, if we want kids to be invested in any activity, like in school, like in athletics, joining marathons, like jumping here and there, household duties, learning a musical instrument like guitars, piano, violins, and such, the fastest way to undermine that motivation is to offer material or emotional rewards. So material is not everything, cash is not everything, iPad, iPhone even is not everything. You can afford emotional rewards just to make them feel appreciated. Not just cash, like do not set in their mind, do not tell them that money is everything, like everything needs money. That's not a good parenting or a good way to teach them. Of course, we are proud of our children's successes and disappointed in their failures. We aren't robots. We don't get much feedback on our parenting, so lacking our own report cards or trophies, it's tempting to use our children's success as immediate and reassuring evidence of our parenting success. However, claiming our children's successes or failures as our own cheats them out of their experiences, devalues their learning, and teaches them that our love for them is conditional. That's not how it should work. Fortunately, there is a simple way to avoid outcome love. When parents focus on the process of learning over the relatively arbitrary end product of points, grades, and scores, we communicate in terms louder than words. We love our children unequivocally and without reservation. That's how we should teach them. That's how we should express our love towards them. Me, myself, when I get married later on and I have a husband, a handsome one, and I have a child, I would not want to spoil them with cash, with materials, but I want to show affection. Like, I love you because you are great. No matter how disappointing, no, just kidding. No matter how low your grades are, how high it is, how bad you are at school, how good you are at school, that's not what matters. I am here to teach you and give you guidance. That's how you need to show appreciation to your child, to your children. So I believe I would be a great mother. Rather than gush over a high grade or fume over a low one, for example, focus discussion on what the child did to earn that grade. Like questions like how did they prepare for the assessment or project, what might they do differently next time, what was successful, and what do they need to change. Did they get enough sleep the night before the test, or did they stay up for just one more hour to review? Did they speak with the teacher to get feedback on that work, and what did not? These are the questions that you need to reconsider in terms of teaching them. The whole process is what matters, and not just getting them to focus on the reward itself, because that's how they should learn, that's how they gain knowledge, that's how they will survive in life, by learning the processes to knowing what they should do and what they shouldn't do. This focus on process over product is particularly helpful for highly anxious or perfectionist kids who tend to get derailed by their intense focus on outcomes. When these kids obsess over an end product, on why their grade was 90 instead of 100, for example, it's essential to steer the discussion back to the learning, like back to the ongoing lifelong process of becoming a more effective, efficient, and invested learner. We cannot always excise all stresses of judgment, joy, anger, or even other sorts of emotions, our responses to our children's triumphs and tragedies, nor should we. However, if we want our children to truly believe us when we say our love is constant and unconditional, that we value learning more than a number printed in red and the top of a test, we are going to have to put our money and our unconditional love where our mouth are. Learning is not just basically about getting the outcomes, but the process is what matters, as what I stated before. And if the child, the kids, the teenagers do not pay a great amount of attention to this, do not attach a sufficient amount of care towards this method, they will not learn effectively. Like, they might be focusing in class because they want to get good grades, but not because they want to survive in this life and get new knowledges. They will stop learning when they get to the point like they have enough money to survive. They think they have enough money to survive, but that's not it. That's not where it should end. So when it comes to teaching the kids on what's wrong and what's right, it's obvious that we should not make them believe that the world is all about money. I'm sorry for my voice, I'm just getting too emotional. I'm sorry. The world is not about money, and you should pay more attention to telling them they did a great job because of their own hard works, and show them affectionate and passionate about love towards your kids, towards your children. I stated earlier that I do not agree at all that children should get rewarded with cash for good grades because of this that I have explained thoroughly towards this 30 minutes video. So I hope everyone understand the point that I've been wanting to convey. And on a serious note, they can get the rewards sometimes, but do not make them believe that it's all about money, it's all about getting materials outcomes. Make them believe that if you work for it, it will be worth it. That's all. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you again next time. Bye!